Mummy Mayhem by Katie Dale, illustrated by Joy Dyewood. Chapter 1. Which way is the Carry-On Museum? Omar asked, excitedly hurrying out of the hotel. He'd always wanted to visit Egypt, home of the pharaohs, to Sphinx, and his own ancestors. Did you know it's the largest museum of Africa? Omar added, grinning at the stats. You may have mentioned it, Papa laughed. Once or twice, Dad added, grinning. This way, our guides meeting us at the museum at midday. The museum was amazing. Omar gazed at the golden statues, treasures, and coffins. Can you believe these coffins are thousands of years old? He gasped. And there are actual mummies inside? How cool. Papa shrugged. Creepy, more like. Omar rolled his eyes. It's not. It's incredible. The ancient Egyptians spent 70 days treating the bodies to preserve them. They believed it was the only way for people to enter the afterlife. Wow, Dad smiled, impressed. Suddenly, Omar heard a strange voice. Help! He looked around, but he and his dad were the only people in the room. Did you hear that? Omar said. Dad frowned. I didn't hear anything. Help me! Cried the voice. There it is again, Omar cried. It sounded like it was coming from this coffin. Papa turned pale. Very funny. Good one, Dad chuckled. They've got crocodile coffins in the next room. Imagine mummifying a crocodile. Eek! Papa winced and Dad laughed as they moved on. Omar was about to follow when he heard the voice again. Help! Goosebumps prickles down Omar's arms as he leaned closer to the coffin. Help! The voice shouted. Suddenly, startled, Omar tripped over the rope barrier and fell against the coffin, which immediately sprang open. Chapter 2. Omar froze. He was staring at a mummy. A real ancient Egyptian mummy. Finally, the mummy cried, I've been stuck in there for 4,000 years, waiting for one of my descendants to let me out. Descendants? Omar frowned. The mummy nodded. Only my blood and can open our coffin, so you and I must be related. Really? Omar said excitedly. My family is originally from Egypt. Nice to meet you, the mummy beamed. I'm Seti. Omar smiled uncertainly. Hi, Seti. Are you not alive? That's right, the mummy laughed. I'm dead, very, but I have a good life. I'm glad, Omar smiled. I'm Omar. Hi, Omar. I need your help, Seti begged. If I don't get back to my parade, I'll never be reunited with my family in the afterlife. Oh no, Omar cried. Of course I'll help you. Let's go, Seti cried, striding across the room. Wait, Omar cried. You need a disguise. Omar hurried to the museum's lost and found room. My dad left some clothes here yesterday. He fibbed, riffling through the box anxiously until he found what he needed. Bingo! Omar dashed back to Seti. Better? Seti asked, trying the robes on. Omar frowned. Let's face, he was still exploded. Hang on, Omar grabbed a scarf and sunglasses from his bag, just in time. Omar, there you are, Dad cried, returning with Papa. What's keeping you? Omar hesitated, bumped into our tour guide. See, Seti, he arrived earlier. How wonderful, Dad cried, reaching to shake Sadie's hand. He hates being touched, Omar cried hesitantly, jumping in the way. Dad had a very firm handshake, and after thousands of years in coffins, Sadie's hand might just shake right off. To the pyramids, Sadie cried, hurrying out of the museum straight into the busy road. Stop! Omar yelled, yanking him back onto the pavement just as a car whizzed past. What was that beast? Sadie gasped, trembling in shock. That beast, Dad sighed wistfully, is the car of my dreams. You've got to be careful, Omar hissed to Sadie. If your body gets destroyed, you'll never be reunited with your family. Sadie nodded anxiously. We have to get to the pyramids quick. What's the rush? Dad chuckled. They're not going anywhere. Besides, I've booked us on a boat ride first. Come on. Chapter 3. The boat ride was amazing. The white sails billowed, the river Nike sparkled, and they never spotted a crocodile, much to Papa's fright. What's that building, Seti? Dad asked, pointing to a shiny skyscraper. Seti panged and Omar gulped. Seti wouldn't know the answer. There weren't any skyscrapers when Seti was alive 1,000 years ago. Oh, you told me that one already, didn't you, Seti? Omar fibbed quite quickly. It's Grand Nile Tower. Nice! Dad nodded. Can you tell us more about the Nile? Papa asked, sipping from his cup water. Of course, Sadie smiled. The god of Nile is so big. He has the head of a crocodile and represents fertility, medicine, and sudden death. Papa turned the pail. I wish I hadn't asked, he muttered. He jumped up as the boat approached the riverbank. Dry land at last. But the boat jolted against the dock. Papa's water spilled all over Seti. Oh no, Sippy yelled out horrified. Quick, Omar said, spotting a nearby restaurant. Let's go inside and clean you up. Great idea, Dad cried. I'm starving. Omar and Seti dashed to the empty restaurant Lowe's. Oh no, Seti wailed. If I get wet, my body will disintegrate. Give me the wet robes, Omar cried. This'll dry you. He jabbed the hair dryer on. The hot air blasted Seti, blowing his bandages loose. Double oh no. Omar? Papa's voice called as he pushed the door open. Are you okay? Triple oh no. Chapter 4. Omar hastily shoved Seti into a cubicle and shut the door just as Papa entered the room. We're fine, Omar said. I'm just drying Seti's robes. Papa grimaced. I'm so sorry, Seti. Here, I'll do that. He grabbed the robes from Omar. I'll do it, Omar insisted. No, you go back to Dad, Omar, said Papa firmly. Omar panicked. He couldn't let Papa see Seti without his disguise. Seti's secret would be out, and Papa was such a scaredly cat, and he might have a heart attack. We'll just throw the robes over this cubicle door when they're dry, Omar said. Seti doesn't let anyone see him with his robes. Omar joined Dad at the table and waited anxiously. It's all traditional Egyptian food, Dad cried, reading the menu. I don't know what they order. Finally, Seti and Papa returned and Omar breathed a sigh of relief. Why are the weapons on the table? Seti whispered to Omar, looking at the culture nervously. Oh, Omar giggled. No, there, he began. I'll kill for a decent steak, Dad exclaimed. Sadie grabbed his knife and fork, holding them defiantly. I'll protect you, Omar. Papa and Dad stared at him. Ha ha! Omar forced a laugh. What a joker! No need to hurt anyone today. Unless Dad pinched my food. He jabbed his fork at Dad's hand playfully. I won't, I promise. Dad laughed. What would everyone like to eat? Seti? Oh, I've already eaten, Seti replied quickly. Plus, I don't have a stomach anymore, he whispered to Omar and winked, but I can recommend the molokhia, a traditional Egyptian stew, and honey-sweetened cakes. They're delicious. Dad beamed. Thanks, Seti. Chapter 5. After Dad had eaten 3 helpings of molokhia and lots of honey cakes, they finally hailed a taxi. Pyramids, here we come, Omar cried. Do you want to visit the Great Sphinx first? The driver asked on the way. Oh, yes, please, Papa cried. Omar sighed and shrugged apologetically at Seti, who stared out of the window as the pyramids appeared in the distance. He sighed wistfully. Omar felt so sorry for him. He couldn't imagine being separated from his dad for a week, let alone for 1,000 years. As they approached the Sphinx, Seti gasped in horror. It didn't used to look like that. Really? Papa said. What did it look like before? It had a nose, Seti said, and a long braided beard, and he was painted in bright colors. The face and body were red, the beard was blue, and the headdress were yellow. Dad smiled. Sounds amazing. It was Seti sighed. It really was. Finally, they reached the pyramids. There he is, Seti cried excitedly. That's my pyramid. Your pyramid? Dad chuckled. My favorite pyramid. Seti corrected hastily. It took 10,000 men, 30 years to build. 10,000 slaves, Papa muttered. They weren't slaves, Seti exclaimed indignantly. The pyramids were built by well-fed skilled laborers. Papa blushed. It was originally covered with white limestone. Seti was wistfully. It gleamed in the sunlight like a beautiful pearl. Wow, Dad said. I'm so glad you're our guide, Seti, like you were actually there. Omar and Seti grinned at each other. Seti beamed. I'm very glad I meet you all too, but it's time for me to go home. Omar nodded and smiled. Goodbye, Seti. Everyone waved at Seti. Then Seti disappeared behind the pyramid. Oh no, Papa gasped, grabbing his wallet. I forgot to give Seti a tip. He hurried after him. No, wait, Omar cried, chasing Papa, but there was no sign of Seti anywhere. Papa gazed around the empty desert, confused. Omar spotted the robe, scarf, and sunglasses behind a rock, stuffed them into his bag. Where did Seti go? Dad asked, frowning. To be with his family, Omar said, beaming as he took his dad's hands. After all, what better place to be? The end.